Welcome to part 3 of our review of Fratelli Tutti. We have already discussed being called to fraternity, also known as brotherhood, with our fellow humans, the natural issues that siblings have with one another, natural and supernatural reasons that we should see all humans as our brothers and sisters, and some of the ways we can begin to recognize their inherent human dignity. However, none of this addresses the fact that we have hurt one another, and even if just accidentally, will continue to hurt one another in the future. Even with a deep view of one another as brothers and sisters, or even deeper as sons and daughters of God, the issue of wounds will linger in our world. Just like siblings when they move out of their parents' house, we may be able to remove the initial problem and competition, but the hurts and issues were never resolved, and often were not even acknowledged. Unfortunately, healing wounds between humans is one of the most complicated things humans do, as each situation is a complex interaction of the people and events involved and how each person interpreted what they experienced. There is no one way to find healing from the wounds of our past. That being said, there do seem to be a few key elements that are present every time humans have found a way to heal the wounds of the past. As a Christian, I have found that the only times I have ever been healed of emotional trauma was through diving into it in prayer with Jesus Christ and allowing Him to heal my heart and mind. For anyone who believes, this is the place I would recommend that they start, as I find it impossible to find healing without assistance from the divine healer. As believers, we also have the greatest example of healing ever offered in human history. God healed the rift between humanity and Himself, and He did it by paying the price of our sins, despite the fact that we were the ones that messed up, not Him. This is further added to by the parable of the debtors. For if we were forgiven such a great debt by our Father in heaven, can we not forgive the little debts our brothers and sisters have inflicted against us? However, as Pope Francis wrote Fratelli Tutti to appeal not just to Catholics, but to all people, we should also discuss the elements of healing from a secular view. First, healing can only be found in forgiveness, after the attack or abuse that caused the wound has ended. Healing and forgiveness are sometimes co-opted and twisted by an abuser to keep their victim trapped in a situation of abuse. That is not what healing and forgiveness is about. If the painful event, attack, or abusive situation is currently ongoing, work on remedying that before seeking to forgive or find healing. The second element is the mentality of approaching the hurt. I have to be open-minded to recognize that even if I disagree about what happened, the other person has interpreted it in a hurtful way. We do not have control over how others interpret our actions, but we can try to understand the miscommunication and come to a mutual understanding. Besides being open-minded, we also need to have an extra sense of humility, both to be open-minded in the first place, and so we do not become hurt by what is said and lash out at them again. This humility is also important for recognizing that we don't know everything and accepting the responsibility we have for our part of the hurt. Third, a frank, honest, and safe conversation needs to be had between the two parties. As most human wounds are usually inflicted in both directions, clearing up the situation requires both parties to try to understand where the other side is coming from. Fourth, both parties will have to take action based on what was learned in the conversation. To come to forgiveness and to help prevent such misunderstandings, from happening in the future. This is where the rules of society are built. This process requires that everyone involved has recognized the fraternity they have with their fellow humans, has the humility and openness necessary to see the other party's perspective, the strength of personal character to do what is necessary to find healing, and the ability to recognize that our brothers and sisters are not our enemy. The true enemy of humans is the evil spirit. The word spirit derives from an ancient word meaning breath, and just like a breath, the spirit of evil can enter silently and invisibly, but you can feel his presence. The Church believes this spirit is the real person of Satan, but even non-believers can see the spirit of evil affecting our lives. There are 7 minions of the evil spirit. They are pride, envy, wrath, sloth, greed, gluttony, and lust. At least 95% of all human problems are directly caused by these 7 evil spirits. What would the world look like if we all recognized the inherent human dignity in everyone, lived as brothers and sisters, and began an all-out war upon our true enemy, the evil spirit and his minions? That is the focus of Fratelli Tutti, and our last video coming out next week. God bless.